Welcome to the Big Biz Show. Taking care of business. You want fast-talking, hard-hitting discussions on business and finance? Maybe with a barroom slant and some really salty peanuts? We're not counting calories. We're counting cash. Before we get to the man with the financial plan, meet the money team. Costa, Mary, and Greg. Now Captain Finance himself, Sully.
We roll on to the Loft 100 studios here in sunny Southern California. Costa, Mary Godwin, Greg Todorov, those three handsome gents on the stage, providing us the musical musings every single show, of course, is the DTT.
Great to see you. A little love for the DTT?
Yep.
Boom. Hey, what is Mary, I'm asking you only because you are the grocery shopper and Mike is the fast foodie, and me and Greg just make meat and drink tequila. I will tell you, Greg and I had the greatest dinner the other night. Because
you guys cook more than I do. You make all these fancy soups and.
It was a carnivore's. No, this was a carnivore's.
No, because Greg and I love lamb.
Yeah.
Greg and I love lamb, and I've got an Armenian investment partner who ran a very popular restaurant here in San Diego for a very long time called Pat and Oscar's. And his family, it was that place you went to when you had soccer kids for
so
pizza
good.
and chicken and bread and bread sticks and stuff like that.
The mustard sauce from Pat and Oscar's. Greatest ever. I would drink it.
You missed my Christmas party this year where Pat was there.
I left early. I was there.
So Pat is Oscar's wife.
Right.
Oscar passed. I somehow learned how to make lamb oil. I was single for a long time. I'd sit there, so Greg and I are lamb freaks. So I go, Greg, I ordered like 6 racks of lamb. I'm bringing lamb overnight.
Jeez.
Well, I was going to have to change. So Greg, in the meantime, goes out. He says, we're going to move to the next night. Greg, of course, goes to the Carter Seaside Market and gets like Wagyu beef, beefy beef, and a couple of Slim Jims. We go to Greg's house, and we had a mound.
Yes. Yeah.
First of all, his young daughter, Emma.
Yeah.
Fuller, who's built like you, and your size, by the way, he's 6. Okay?
Of course.
In fact, we need to get a picture of the two of them together.
Wait a minute, Mike. Where were you?
Yes.
Have you ever seen them in the
Emma ate more meat than all of them. And I have made Howie has had Howard Font has had our man before too. There he is.
Wait, why don't we get leftovers?
Well, the reason I'm asking is
there weren't any leftovers.
The reason I'm asking is this.
Yeah, there wasn't.
No, there wasn't.
No.
And I left like this much left.
Oh, I know.
We measure meat on piles on the cutting board.
Yeah.
And it's more of a stand-up. And as I'm leaving the lovely Mrs. Todorov is making a side dish. See it.
Well, I'm out here. There's no need to sit down.
What's the fake meat? It's Beyond Meat and what's
Beyond Burger?
And what's the other one?
I don't know. I don't
Tofu?
eat the fake stuff.
No, there's two major brands.
Impossible's the other one.
Impossible. Impossible's way better.
Impossible to replicate real meat.
But Howie, didn't one of these guys do an IPO in 2009? They were like $25 a share or something like that?
I'm sorry, 2019. I added a decade in there. You're right to pause. Yeah.
It went to $25 to $240, didn't it?
Whoa.
Yeah, so right at the IPO, they issued the shares at $25, and there was so much excitement that it only took a month or so to get all the way up to $238, I think is their all-time high.
What's the stock trading at today?
Wow.
$339.
Oh my God.
Oh.
Are you serious? So this is what we're doing. This is what we're doing today.
Have you ever tried?
When we come back, we're going to talk about why some of these new companies fail, because there's no reason in the world that people are still moving towards heart healthy and this. And by the way, if I can have Impossible like hamburger tacos, I'll do it just because I know it's a one time. Yeah, because meat is my vice. Okay, I had a lot of vices in my life.
Yep.
Most of them were named Cinnamon. There was that one named Isis at one time.
Sapphire.
However, now it's like me and Marcus. I basically live like Bruce Wayne. I live in a place by myself with a dog, and we make so much meat. And
stay on fire.
He
met her at Carrabba's.
I gotta start eating. I'm going to Carrabba's after this.
Do it. And you do this, you keep it right here. That entertainment is for free on the Big Biz Show. We'll see you in a second.
Loft 100 Studios, The Big Biz Show, and our affiliates and our hosts are not registered investment advisors or broker-dealers.
Our show hosts make no commitment that the purchase of securities of companies profiled or otherwise mentioned in our programming
are suitable or advisable for any person, or that an investment in such securities will be profitable in general.
Given the nature of the company's profile and the lack of an active trading market for the securities, investing is highly speculative and carries a certain high degree of risk.
We profile selected publicly traded and privately held companies on our program.
Most of these companies that we profile have provided compensation to Loft 100 Studios and its hosts for the profile coverage.
From time to time, we sell shares of the companies profiled in the open market that we receive as compensation for coverage of client companies.
But never sell stocks if we are speaking about interviewing or covering a public company who has paid compensation.
Specific questions on compensation can be obtained by contacting producer at sullyandgroup.com.
Listeners should verify all claims and do their own due diligence before investing in any securities mentioned on this program.
Investing in securities is speculative and carries a high degree of risk.
We encourage our investors to invest carefully and read the investor information available at the websites on the
Securities and Exchange Commission at sec.gov and or the Financial Industry Regulatory Authority, FINRA, at www.finra.org.
I like it.
Hey, is that a rescue plane?
Continuing on the Big Biz Show inside the Loft 100 Studios. Thanks everybody for being along for the ride. Costa, Maribor, Godwin, executive producer Greg Todorov, and Sully. We're talking meat.
There we go. We're talking meat. The reason I was saying is I feel like I don't do coffee and cream anymore. I'm trying to, because I had a physical.
How do you survive?
I had a physical. I was doing great, my physical.
Yeah.
And my cholesterol's great and everything else. I'm thinking, this is like the one time in my life, I'm healthier now than I have been forever. I thought, I know the shoe's going to drop at some point because I'm eating I had a pork chop the size of a small train the other day. And then I do lamb once a week.
Right.
Sorry.
It's great for you.
He's like, what are you cheating on me?
Yeah.
It is.
Oh, it is. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I did, have you had a New York strip before?
Absolutely.
And Marcus.
Coffee crusted?
Marcus, my 140-pound Bernese Mountain Dog, who is a purse dog.
I love Marcus.
By the way, you walk to my house, Mike will tell you, Greg will tell you, you got to set your core because he's coming.
Yep. No, that running back is going to explode into you.
Yes, and you'll need replacements after he does what's called the Bernese lean.
Yeah.
But he and I are eating too much meat, I think. So I need to think about this Beyond Meat. But Howie, Beyond Meat IPO'd in 2009 at a price of $25 a share, soared to $238 a share shortly afterwards in 2019. Now the stock, as you just mentioned, is $339. So talk to us why. Well, IPOs typically will jump at the open, and IPO shares, I've always said, if you ever get a call from your broker saying, hey, I can get you in on an initial public offering, turn and run. Because unless you are a high net worth individual, you're never going to get access to the Facebooks, to the hot stocks, because those shares are reserved for the investment banks that underwrite these companies. And typically companies need 3 underwriters, and they take their best clients and say, hey, we're doing an IPO for Uber. Okay, I can get you in. I can get you $50,000 worth. And of course, their 50s were $250 by the time they're done.
Yeah.
But you see an initial spike, and then you see a drop, like several of my drop analogies. I'll do it today. But the bottom line, Howie, is that, and then everybody tries to get in, and then, but then it drops fast. Now that's an IPO failure. But why do the companies fail altogether? I mean, Beyond Meat for me and Impossible Burger for me seem like they should be on the upswing still in terms of popularity. Is this a perception issue? This is a bad business issue? What is the cause for the failure of some of these things?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is just a concept failure, and this happens. We have kind of trends in the market or a hot new sector, and people get excited about it. Quantum computing does this every decade. Internet stocks in the 2000s, and plant-based meat, the synthetic meats, 5 years ago, especially right before COVID, were really taking off, and you had products at McDonald's and restaurants. You had Impossible Burgers, and I've had some good ones. But they really did not ever improve beyond that initial introduction. And I think people expected them to. I mean, I had a couple plant-based like chilies and things. It was fine, but you're right. You mentioned having them in tacos. I think that's the perfect place where you have a bunch of other things with it. And yeah, it's like the texture is like 80% there, the flavor's 80% there. So I think the sales growth and then decline is all a function of the core concept and the execution, and not all
because we're still concerned, we're still interested as a group in sustainability and health and all that stuff.
Well, yeah, and it's driven by consumer interest, right? I would say,
we're still interested, right?
2019 and then COVID, I think people were indulging a lot in food
but
and
still,
beverage.
though, we were also healthy. But we were still, you're exactly right.
They were trying to get healthy because they were worried about getting it and then having other comorbidities. So is it still that way? Are you seeing that trend?
No, I mean, in fact, we're seeing, lots of declining revenues, and, they had a lot of business partnerships. I think McDonald's has taken their Impossible Burger off the menu. I don't see it in stores as often.
That's
you can
right.
find it.
Mike, what's the fast food report on, fast food report of Mike Costa.
Yeah, there ain't no plant-based meals on any fast food menu today. End of report.
Is that a real-time analysis?
Go to hell with a salad.
Yeah. Howie, I had a plant-based meal last night. It was called salad. That type of thing.
No, it was called beer. Hops, grain, pretty much.
Makes sense, yeah.
But Howie, as soon as people start talking in terms of, we got to get rid of cows because of the methane, what it's doing to the ozone layer, and people need to eat less beef and more of this, I think people just naturally go, you know what? Blank you. I will decide when I want to stop eating meat.
Fill in the blank, Howie.
Yeah.
I agree. I think actually a lot of the blowback came when people kind of realized how these things were made, and how much of it is processed and synthetic, and how much oil is in the. You don't get the meat taste from plants without adding some. What would otherwise considered to be pretty nasty stuff.
This is the same argument with the nut milk stuff with oat milk. Oat milk's so good.
I know, but I heard it's so bad.
Oat milk's so good, but they add. The stuff they add to it, it's like, here, let's add some margarine and some plastic and the steering wheels of old Priuses into your oat milk. And it tastes, it's like that meme they had a tombstone that had the word milk on it.
Yeah.
And a guy that said oat milk in the front going. and the thing, because it's the process thing that I think is getting it, because if you think about it, like all of us, and companies do this all the time. Look, we tend to lament our losses 3 times more than we celebrate our gains, except for when it comes to money. And when you get all of this money in, IPO, we're the greatest, you think it's going to last forever. And it rarely lasts forever. And now, of course, they spent too much. They tried to do all these other, products instead of sticking with what they knew. And now they're facing financial challenges, Howie. And they got big financials beyond meat. Is reporting declining revenues, and now they're restructuring. When they say restructuring, what's the next word? Chapter 11 is coming.
Yeah.
Talk about that.
That's effectively it. I think there will be a larger market. It's set to grow. There is demand, but these first moving companies. There were a dozen search engines before Google. There are going to be new plant-based companies, or even, Mike, you said there's too many cows. There are companies exploring just making, growing steak, like not growing a cow, like just growing certain cuts. So things like that will be actual meat, and that'll probably be closer to what we end up with in the far-flung future.
So what are the future prospects, Howie?
Because when you put here, Howie, the market's projected to grow by 2030 because of sustainability and health trends. Isn't that the same thing we had that isn't working?
What I'm talking about is actually, the actual execution of the certain business ideas. So when we talk about, this IPO not working, the IPOs being dangerous and risky, the stock going up and then falling precipitously, that's just saying this fundamental try has not worked. We do demand farming and sustainable food. But this ain't it, folks. We'll have to get it some other way. So the market is going to grow. What fills that need? Who can say? Probably not beyond me. Yeah.
I have to agree with that. Howard, thank you so much, and I will be going out.
Me too.
Once again to Meat Town here in San Diego. Howie's going to be in town in a couple weeks. Yeah, buddy, I'll make you some lamb. So,
all right, keep it right here. Lots more to come with The Big Biz Show. As always, thanks for being with us. See you in just a second. In some parts of the world, it's known as the large financial program. Most of the world knows it as The Big Biz Show. We roll on here. Costa, Mary Godwin, Greg Todorov. The great band you hear in the background, of course, is the DTT.
That's exactly right. Brought to you by Prudential. Let Prudential be your rock for retirement. Also brought to you by Bayer Advanced, better science, better results. Starbucks Coffee, a little company you may have heard of before. And of course, let's not forget Bloomin' Brands, their fine family of restaurants, Outback Steakhouse, Carrabba's Italian Grill. I like when there's two Carrabba's next to each other. So if you see two Carrabba's on the corner, take a picture and send us a picture of your Carrabba's. Your favorite Carrabba's.
I love Carrabba's.
Do you remember their?
I can't even.
I'm like working with fifth graders.
I'm bringing you back.
When you think about it, you can never have too many Carrabba's.
You can't either.
And if you're lucky enough to have newer construction, newer Carrabba's restaurants, younger Carrabba's in your neighborhood, it's awesome. It's awesome.
The more the merrier is what I say.
Pretty much. We're editing that. I'm just using some.
I've quit like 4 times.
I'm using some of Russ Tennille's humor. Russ used to always love the spokesperson for Carrabba's, the German wrestler Tucken to Knudsen.
Where is this show going?
Christy, help.
Mr. Scam Man, bring me a drink. Steve JJ Weisman's here. That's your favorite.
Mike, you want to laugh him on?
Hey guys. How are you, Steve? Great to talk to you. Steve JJ Weisman.
Sorry,
keep it classy.
You say laugh him on? Yes, I'm going to. Scamicide.com is his website, and he saves people gazillions of money a year with all the damn scams out there.
Hey, Steve, what's interesting, when I met you, I can't remember what year it was, when you wrote the book, The Truth About Avoiding Scams. I'm going to say this is probably 15, 20 years ago. You were on top of scams then because our technology sector was starting to bloom, okay? And then we started bugging you about doing a scam of the day and scamicide.com and so on and so forth. Has there been any ebb and flow in the amount of scams, or just as we mitigate one, the next one comes? Because when you look at your website, scamicide.com, and I will tell you, I've learned a lot of things from Steve, and I'm not kidding when I say this. My kids, when they were pre-college age to college age, saved so much money because of Steve, because that's who the scammers target. Mm-hmm. My parents. How many times have I been stuck in Costa Rica, Steve, where my mom gets an email saying, right, and now, but then there's also the tip that if you see an email come across, there's a typo, or always check where the email's coming from. Even if it looks like it's from the IRS, IRS never sends emails, by the way.
Nope.
Or if it looks like a good B of A. Steve, all of that has led us to the fact, well, we nipped that one in the bud, but here comes AI. And I will tell you, I was told that somebody saw me endorsing a product. Yep. I've been on a dating app, which I haven't been on. I mean, there's like a generic picture, or like a public picture, like Mike's picture. You know, but I mean, this AI thing, I don't know how we can beat it. I don't know how we could beat the deep fake and the AI. Are you concerned about that?
Very much so. You know, The biggest thing is that AI has now made the most sophisticated scams able to be done by the least sophisticated scammers. And when it comes to things like you mentioned seeing your picture on some ad or endorsement or dating site, they can also clone your voice with about 30 seconds of audio, which they can get right off this show. And so it will look and sound exactly like you. You know, my motto was, one of them is, trust me, you can't trust anyone. And with AI, it has made all of the scams so much worse, including, you know, you alluded to the grandparent scam. You know, before it was bad enough when they would get a call in the middle of the night that was purportedly from the grandson or the granddaughter. But now it's using their voice. It's sounding exactly like them. And it's also harvesting information from the internet to bring up other things in the discussion to make it sound legitimate. So AI it's the solution, but it's also the problem.
You know, what's interesting is I don't really worry about, I had someone actually come up to me, one of the Love Your Show type things. I was in a grocery store or something, and the lady and her husband were very gracious, but she's the one who brought up the dating site thing. And I'm not worried about that because they're not gonna make any money off me. But I am worried about when Mike shows up and Greg show up and it's not you guys, and you gotta explain to your wife, or you gotta explain to your significant other, that that's not me.
Yeah.
I mean, I think, because remember the revenge porn websites?
Yeah.
I think somebody gets mad at you. They can pretty much screw with you in a lot of different ways because the perception of evil on someone is just as bad as taking of the money.
I have multiple affairs now, but I just tell my wife, what am I going to do? Steven JJ Weisman,
You know the best part about being on TV and radio, though? Is that you can rob my house because there is where I am at all times.
Totally.
The funny part is like, okay, where I was where? Yeah. Pretty sure. Anyway, so
Scamicide is the website, SCAMICIDE.com.
Hey, Steve, I actually do think about this, you and this segment and this topic all the time, especially with emails.
And your kids, too, would do wise to visit that every day. I'm not kidding.
And I want to talk to you because we're heading into tax season. So are there new scams we need to be thinking about right now? I'm sure that there are, because to your point, so much of our information is online now. And so it seems even more available for people to take our identity.
Yeah, you know, tax season is a big time it's scam season. And, you know, as Sully was indicating there, you know, there are people now that are, what they'll do is they'll contact you indicating in a text message or an email, it's from the IRS. And, you know, now there's some money that you're entitled to, and you just have to click on this link, which will download malware. The IRS, as he said, is never going to email you. They're never going to text you. So you can just ignore those. You know, right now, online IRS accounts are a good idea to get. It can help you in getting information. But here again, the scammers are out there to help you. I'll tell you the biggest thing you can do to protect yourself from income tax identity theft is get a PIN. And before it used to be you had to be a victim of income tax identity theft to get a PIN from the IRS. Now, anyone can get that. You get it every year. You put that on your income tax return. So even if someone manages to steal your Social Security number and file a return in your name, they're not going to be able to get in and get your refund.
Steve, is that, because you and I talked about this, remember twice since I've known you, I've had tax returns filed in Florida under my name, and they have to send me a PIN every year. And I will tell you, even with the PIN, Steve, there's going to be some sort of a biometric thing at some point. The ease of filing thing is going to include some sort of biometric thing on your computer as soon as it's developed, because at some point this AI is not keeping up, and you know, to the tune of close to $1 billion a year in lost revenue to the IRS, Steve. So you're absolutely right.
Steve, quickly, I just was alerted to the fact that I ran a toll road in Pennsylvania. Even though I haven't been to Pennsylvania in over 10 years, are people catching on, or is this making a lot of money for somebody?
This is making big time money. And it's interesting, you know, it first started back in 2014 and people were getting emails and, you know, somewhat falling for it. But now everything's on text messages.
Yes.
And the text message can look legitimate. It can even have a phone number that appears to come from your Easy Pass or whatever it is in your particular state. And people are just falling for it. But what's happening is they'll say like you only owe like $3.60 or something and just give your credit card. But then you turn over your credit card and it's off to the bank.
I love Steve JJ Weisman.
Scamicide.com. He is the scam man. Steve, always great to visit with you. We get a lot smarter. Keep our money when you do. Do this. Keep it right here because there is much more to come with the Big Biz Show. After this. We continue inside the Loft 100 studios here in beautiful, for the moment, sunny Southern California. Rain coming in for the most of this next week, which means everything in Southern California is going to stop. Pasta here at the bar, Marybird Godwin, and of course our host, Sully.
I'm Sully with Stormwatch, San Diego. 125 million TV homes strong, nationwide, coast to coast. You know, just because we broadcast here in San Diego, you might be watching us in New York City or listening to us overseas on American Forces Network. But here in San Diego, if we have fog and it mists, there is a weather person out with Stormwatch behind them, or on the lower third, with a slicker on.
And every single time our team coverage begins down in Fashion Valley,
team coverage.
because the San Diego River has once again reached its bank.
And every Target or store has the umbrellas up front, and there's accidents everywhere.
Yeah.
Harry Arnett wouldn't know because he travels too much to pay us visits like he used to every other week. So hi, Harry. How are you? Just want to give some crap.
Sully, great to see you, brother. I haven't seen you. It's been a minute. I'm sucking it in. Look how fit you are.
Well, you know,
how do you work in a bar and stay so fit?
It's the stress of not seeing you, my friend. Listen, this is a great story, and this tells you who Harry is. And Harry and I connected just on day one, and I'll tell you why. So I'm going through on a Sunday morning, because I'm packed wall to wall. I don't have a lot of time to do anything, but on Sunday morning, I love to check out. And of course, you know, when you get up at 4:30 every day, I'm still up at 5:30. So at 5:30 in the morning, I find this company called Municipal.
Yep.
Now, it reminded me of when the show Moonlighting was out with Bruce Willis, and he had a T-shirt that just said college.
Yeah.
I thought it was the greatest thing ever.
Moonlighting, how old is your audience? Who's going to even get that reference?
Half the crew has no idea what he's talking about.
But the point is, when I saw Municipal, I thought, it just says so many things. So I see a hoodie. I think he had a couple T-shirts. I spent about, $450 that day. And I'm going to the next thing. I'm reading the paper, whatever. I get an email in my personal email box from not Municipal, Harry Arnett.
Yep.
Hi, I'm the CEO of Municipal. Just wanted to say thanks. I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to spend another $200, but
Costa Mary, this was pre-AI.
I was just going to say. I was going to say you going like this, right?
No, I didn't. No, at the time it was pre-AI, so it was like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, that was really.
And I said, dude, come on. I go. He says I'm a local company right here in San Diego. I go, wait a second. We invited him in the studio and we became friends, and it was it's such a great brand story. And the interesting part is, you see a lot of these athleisure companies out now, and they're basically too big for their britches in terms of having human contact. And
Except the britches are stretchy, so they're fine.
Stretchy, yes, exactly. But you,
dad joke.
But you kind of took that and ran with that.
Yeah.
Talk about how this whole thing started.
Well, we didn't do it the easy way, I can promise you.
You did during COVID, didn't
Which
you?
is why, right during COVID, which is why I was emailing customers right out of the gate. Because we didn't start with as a product idea. We didn't start kind of the way that's traditional, where if you think of great brands that you like, whether it's in our world, especially Biore right here, started out as kind of a men's yoga short, or On Running, who everybody knows now, started out as a running shoe technology. Lululemon, everyone knows, women's yoga pant. We started out with a brand company concept that is the first true crossover brand that was drawing from inspirations from the categories that we love, one of which is kind of athleisure, but not the style of athleisure, because if you ask me, would I ever wear athleisure, I would say absolutely not.
But you're in the gym.
But I'm
You're
in
talking
the gym.
about old school gym, Converse All-Stars, and a freaking hoodie.
Getting after it, getting after it in the gym, getting after it in the workplace, getting after it in your career, really trying to go for it, make big things happen. That's the ethos of the brand. It's for people that are leaders, that are trying to make things happen, do things differently. And by the way, being fit, being mentally fit, Longevity starts to be important to you for sure, but those are things that were really part of our brand ethos. And I say first crossover brand because we're drawing from not just athleisure, but sport performance, as you mentioned, Sully. We're drawing from streetwear. I have kind of a streetwear look on.
But you're also drawing from the fact that I'm not going to get involved into what everybody else is wearing. That's the thing is, I've always been a guy that is not that wants to be the guy that, like, I'll show up in a gym with a pair of Converse on.
Yeah.
I'm not going to show up with the best and the brightest. I always thought that was kind of douchey. Sorry.
Well, did you notice? You mentioned starting during COVID. Did you notice? Because people stopped wearing suits and hard pants. It was like all cozy stuff. So did you have some boom in that because people were like moving towards this athleisure way?
Definitely accelerated what we were always seeing coming.
Yeah.
What Sully is talking about, we were curating our own looks, and we tended to be layering, putting together things that were coming from like sport luxe, luxury menswear,
but not trying too hard.
Remember that? Trying too hard, and there was no brand that we saw that really was doing all of those things.
Mm-hmm.
And so we were like, that's got to be us. And it really was kind of a calling card or a calling for us to let's create this brand because we feel like it's where everything is going. Luxury now is so sport driven.
Totally.
Athleisure is trying to get more style driven.
Let's talk about athleisure. Those are the ladies and gentlemen wearing tights into the grocery store.
Yes.
As opposed to what they used to go get dressed to go out.
Yes.
Remember in the 80s they wore sweats and they gave up. Then they went to athleisure. But this is more about, I need something that is going to give me athletic performance that I'm not afraid to wear to a ball game or go to church or go to even a meeting on casual Friday because I slept in my car Thursday.
And be comfortable and stylish.
Comfortable, stylish in any arena. In any arena that you go to, creative office, Sully's bar, obviously in the gym, pickleball, golf. We have the U.S. Open champion wearing Municipal.
Yeah, fantastic.
2 years in.
Yeah, you have a lot of athletes speaking.
A lot of athletes because really, if you think about that aesthetic, that's the aesthetic that athletes love to wear anyway. They want to be fit, they want to look powerful, but they also don't want to look like they just walked out of the gym. So you have that sport inspiration married up with the luxury kind of menswear and the streetwear all together in a really comfortable, versatile package. That's what Municipal is.
And one of your teammates or one of your people on your rosters just did pretty well for himself. Myles Garrett,
Cleveland Browns?
All-world defensive end for the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, did you see the contract on that?
3-year deal, $106.5 million, $40 million a year, highest paid non-quarterback NFL player.
But I would argue he's one of the most important players in the NFL.
1,000%.
But at the same time, he's also an investor in your company.
He is, game wrecker. So that was something that was really cool. Obviously, Mark's one of my co-founders.
When you talk about Mark, you're talking about
Wahlberg,
Mark Wahlberg, the actor, and of course, philanthropist.
For those of my age.
Yes.
That's what I.
Well,
and you know, the funny part is, when I first saw this, I don't think I saw Mark in the brand story until after I made the first purchase. Then you saw a lot of Mark in the brand story. But now you are standing on your own without, I mean, his celebrity endorsement certainly helped. But you're standing on your own as a brand story now, on your own, and not just a Mark Wahlberg, another business story. And you recall that transition, correct?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, even from day one, we didn't want people to think that this was just another cynical celebrity play of trying to throw a celebrity's name on it and hope that people buy it. 99.9% of the brands that you see that have a celebrity attached to it, it existed and they approached the celebrity to attach their name in it. Municipal didn't start that way. Mark and I and our third co-founder, Steve Levinson, who's been Mark's entertainment partner for 35 years, we sat in a room with white pieces of paper to figure out what this brand was going to be before we made a single thing.
If there was a playbook not to be promotion-y and pitchy and all that crap, you guys figured it out. Because by the way, he does a great job of pitching without pitching.
Yeah.
It's like one of those things where I think it occurred to a lot of people that he just loved the brand and didn't realize that he was part of the brand for a while. I mean, you hear about a Wahlberger, well, I can figure out he's probably part of the deal. Yeah. But the long story short, you guys did a really good job of doing that because let's face it, one of the toughest things that and being a pretty recognizable business guy in this country on many different networks, I could never figure out the action sports retail or the retail secret sauce, okay? Because there are always secret sauce. Why did the name Stussy or Hang 10 or Hurley make it? And what's interesting is there's a key differentiator, and they all had influencers. Hurley used the band Blink-182.
Yeah.
They started wearing it on stage. if you go back far enough, Bad Boy Club used the motocross guys. Municipal went with the brand, and now it has an influencer. And what's interesting is that it's not pitchy.
Yeah.
It's not cheesy. It's not pukey like you see a lot of. So I want to ask you something real quick. 2 questions.
First of all, thank you.
Well, of course.
Appreciate all that.
Well, you know I'm a fan. I'm a fan regardless. How did you meet those guys in the first place? How did that come along?
I've known Mark 15 years. I was in the golf industry before, and Mark is probably, of anybody I know that doesn't play professional golf, is the most fanatical, avid golfer on the planet. So we met.
From the Loft 100 Studios, Southern California Big Biz Show rolls on. Hope everybody's having a great day. As always, we appreciate you being along for the ride. Those 3 gentlemen up there, the best in the business, the DTT, we love them. We kind of think we're the best in the business too. Wink, wink. Costa, Mary, Godwin, and Sully.
Oh, we got the CEO.
And obviously the best in the business.
Of Municipal. Harry, when I started shopping with you, your products were what at the time? What were you guys offering? What were your products offering?
It was the first core capsule of what we thought this concept was, right, which was, again, a crossover concept pulling from all these different inspirations that really had we really wanted a broader demographic than what typically you would do when you launch. So we really wanted to be the favorite brand of young people, old people, like, I don't know, some of our consumers back then, I won't name any names, and everywhere in between. And then the second thing that we wanted to do that's really different, I think, is we wanted it to defy geography some way. So we didn't want people to look at us as like, oh, that's another SoCal brand, or that's another Northeastern brand. We wanted it to
it's a schoolyard brand here in the States.
Play everywhere in between. It's what the name means.
Does it play overseas? I never asked it. Does it play?
We have one in Canada, huge, and like 20% of our web traffic and social traffic comes from international. Okay. So really big in the Middle East. We ship a lot there. We ship a lot into, and because the values are universal.
Well, plus the quality. I mean, you take a look at that thing. The sweatshirt you're wearing. It's quality stuff.
Okay, to that point,
look at you, ass. Look at you, ass kisser. What is that? I just noticed here. Oh, you want an autograph?
I had no idea he was coming in today. Jeez.
Look how good he's never looked better.
Look how good
I look. Thank you.
Everybody, look how good I look.
Just ask him.
We've got a yellow Labrador Retriever. Cheese is his name. And his favorite blanket is my original Municipal crew neck sweatshirt. He goes into my closet, pulls it out, and
By the way, is there anything more old school than a crew neck sweatshirt?
No.
I gotta tell you,
forget it.
You mentioned young people. I have 2 teenage daughters. They live.
So do I. And first of all, I'm sorry.
I know. Thank you. Thank you. I need commiseration right now. But they live in their hoodies. I go into my daughter's closet. It's 10 hoodies and crew necks, both. They're. I mean, every color, everything. That's all they live in. But they're dancers, so they're athletes, kind of.
Yeah. It gets more comfortable as it gets older, and he chews on it. There's dog hair all over it, and I'm like, go to town, kid, because I just know the next time I put it on, it's going to be that much better. It's not only a crew neck. It's not only outerwear. It's some nights it's my pajamas.
Some mornings.
It's some mornings. I throw it on.
You don't have to wash it all the time.
No. Harry, I feel like you guys, since I've known you, went through 3 phases. The original capsule, as you call it, then the intro of new products, and now you're here. Where was what was the B section, and where are we at now?
Well, now I think we've gotten really good at our product market fit, not to throw, wonky terms out there.
No, but that's good though.
But really understanding what is this crossover sport utility performance lifestyle thing that we're trying to deliver to people. Right. And from the beginning, we just had an idea, but I think as a culture within our building of trying to learn and really live this lifestyle ourselves, is honing in on what are the core 20-25 things that every guy needs to in their closet, no more, no less. And also we launched women's at the same time, the same thing for women, because I'm equally as excited about that, because we believe what is being presented to women in terms of that aesthetic is significantly different to where we think the market is going. If you remember the Olympics, women stole the show. It's women, we call them women of agency. They're leaders. They are integrated powerhouses, and that's kind of what the Municipal Woman is all about. It's the same philosophy. So that middle ground that you're talking about, Sully really is that transition to where we are now, a lot more performance in our line.
Yeah.
While still having kind of
Are you still doing the shoes? Are the shoes still alive?
We launched shoes at the very end of 2023.
You got some slides too in there. I saw the slides.
Earlier than people would say was smart, so don't do
But when you enter,
it's almost 30% of our business today.
But that's a ton of traffic when you get into the shoe. That's like making watches. What made you guys think you could capture it? Because you've captured market share. What made you think you could do it?
Community, really focusing on the municipal community.
So you had to on-ramp with this to get to there.
Yeah, and really kind of understanding who those people are and the personas and what they need, and the compromises that people felt like they've had to make, where you can have really comfortable things, but those tend to be really ugly and not very high quality, or you can have really high quality things and those tend to not be very comfortable. So we entered into the market with things that were performance, comfort, and quality and style at the same time.
What's your number one seller? Do you have one that's like, oh, that we can't keep that on the shelf?
I'm wearing it.
It's the hoodie.
I'm wearing it.
Okay, gotcha.
I need one of those.
Gotcha.
Right now, man.
Our samples are in the lobby, right?
Yeah, I brought some stuff, as I always do. Hoodies, tees, shoes. It's not that complicated.
Which is why the success story, right?
Yeah.
It's not that complicated.
Not that complicated.
When are we going to get you in Mark and studio together?
Oh my God!
Let's do it.
We've never asked.
We've
never asked. Okay, hold on a second.
Wait,
I'll be the jerk.
Hold on.
I'll be the jerk. Stand up. Have I ever? I've never even brought it up before, have I?
No.
I respected that because the D-bag over here is like, when's Mark coming in?
Don't you miss 100% of the shots you don't take?
You do. That's
the point. Is, but I'm more interested in the guy with the brand story here, because at the very beginning, my connection is with the CEO of the company, who reached out to me, when he didn't have to.
I have a question about that. Were you emailing all of your customers or over a certain
$300
dollar amount? No, or did you know his name because he was a person in San Diego?
No, he didn't know me for Adam.
No. We, at that time, I was looking at all of the orders. Now I can't. It's too many orders. But I'm still taking cross sections.
You were the part like, what have I done? I've given it my career at Callaway, and now I'm starting a business.
Sort of.
I'm going to reach out to everyone.
Absolutely. But no, I was kind of just looking at cross sections of who was buying what, where they're from, and just trying to engage with what made you attracted to the brand. And then I think I probably followed up later, like what you think.
No, we did. We did a couple. Yeah. No, there was a couple, and it was like, I can't believe this. And then I asked him, I said, you got to come in the studio.
See, that's an awesome success
No, I will never forget that, because it wasn't as if you were a privately held startup that was selling your cut and sew house samples.
Yeah.
You guys had already. I mean, listen. You weren't half pregnant at that point.
No.
You were in, and you were big enough to be able to take the time out to do that. I thought was remarkable. I don't want to let you leave here without talking about the store.
Yeah.
And now, are there multiple stores now?
We have 2 stores, but we have one flagship, which is right here in Oceanside, Southern California.
So if you're watching us across the country or listening to us internationally via Bloomberg or American Forces Network, or if you're watching us on television in the U.S., Oceanside is in North San Diego County. Where there's been a huge regentrification. And so that's 4 months ago you opened up that?
Yeah, we opened up in November. Our headquarters is right behind the storefront on the Coast Highway. And I think it'll blow your mind. You guys got to come up. It's completely experiential.
We want to send a camera crew in there and kind of give you guys some love. We'd love to do that.
And we've got a partnership with the Earth Cafe, which is one of the best luxury
I love that
premium.
place. Yes.
Yeah, so we have the Municipal Coffee by Earth Cafe.
I didn't know Earth Cafe was here in San Diego.
Right here in San Diego.
Because you know we always went in Venice, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So we have,
it is one of the greatest, like before 8 o'clock in the morning up if you're in LA with maybe even overserved on Thursday.
So we have one of those inside. We've got product customization. We have a 2,000 square foot lounge for people just to come in. Our dream really is the next great American company other than Municipal is two people would have met in our lounge and figured it out. So
that's great.
Yeah, so come see us.
That's good stuff. Harry,
love it.
As always, it's so great to see you, and I just celebrate your success, and I couldn't be more happy for you. I want you to know if Narqual were ever up in the show, it's because I didn't pander.
Look at him with the sweatshirt.
What's this?
I love it.
That's not even a Municipal sweatshirt. He just had that printed on before he came here.
Actually, no, he's
100%
Municipal. We got that off of Temu.
Temu.
It said Municipal off of Temu.
That does it for us, guys. Thanks so much. Thanks for Harry Arnett.